welcome to Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, I'm going to be starting my Halloween series. So happy Halloween, everybody. Happy spooky season. I hope that these color alongs are fun for you. And I'm excited to use these color palettes that I put together. I do have a post on Instagram and on the YouTube community tab here, sharing these 5 color palettes with you guys. These are the ones that I picked for my Monster Mash coloring journey, I guess, this month. This one is for something else, but just so I could save a little bit of paper, I just went ahead and printed them all together. Anyway, so today we're going to focus on skeletons. So it's going to be this palette here, which I'll put up on screen so you can see it a little bit better. I really loved the images that I saw from this. I like the fun colors mixed in with the spooky skeleton, and I thought that this would be a fun way to start the color alongs. So the image that we're going to work on today is, I already have it in here. This is the image that I found. So this is from Dark Fantasy by Selena Fennick. And I just thought this one was so cool and would be really fun to do with the color palette that I had picked out. So this is going to be my attempt. I'm thinking about doing in the background probably this teal color. I think that'll be a really cool background color. And then some of these bright pinks and stuff on some of the flowers and maybe the butterflies. Some oranges mixed in there, and yeah, I think this is going to be really neat, really fun. So yeah, I'm excited, very, very excited. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to grab I'm going to do what I've done in the past, where I've done basically an alcohol marker base over almost the whole page, and then we'll do a little bit of background work as well. And then I will go through with my pencils and do some shading. So I think what I'm going to do is work on, we'll work on a few things together, but then like the majority of it's probably going to be either sped up or we'll like cut to and it will magically be done kind of thing. So yeah, so I'm going to grab my alcohol markers first, and then I will go through and just start coloring stuff. So I will talk to you in here in a second. All right, so I have my colors here. I'm going to use Ohuhu marker to start with, and then, yeah, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to go through and get some markers down on the page, and I will be back with you guys here in a minute. Okay, here is the page after the marker work, and I'm going to ask you to trust this process because I know that it looks crazy right now. We're going to do a little bit of a background. I'm going to try to recreate this kind of smoky, turquoisey stuff in the background. I think that's a cool look. I'm going to use my chalk pastels. So I'm going to use these Mungu soft pastels. And I have a couple of colors that I'm going to try. So I'm going to put these guys out here first. Okay, so I'm going to start with this mint one because I feel like that's the base color pretty much. I did the markers first because I can come back over top of the markers and erase anywhere where I get this chalk that I don't want it. So if I go over the line art, it's not a big deal, and I've already got the other color kind of mapped out underneath, so it's not crazy if I go over the line art a little bit. And since I have like these ribs down here, I knew that it's gonna be a little hard to get in all of the tiny little crevices. So we're just gonna attempt to do our best. Okay, got the background mostly done. I'll probably add some more details to it later on, but now I'm going to focus on the hair. So I'm going to use my Prismacolors, my Polychromos and my Prismacolor White, and I'm going to just add in shadows and highlights to the hair, and that's it. So I'll do a section, and then basically the whole thing is going to be exactly the same, and then I'm going to come in and start adding other little details. So I'm going to try to make sure that I can see where my shadows are, first of all. So I'm just going to go in with this Payne's Gray and add in some nice shadows. I did use a neutral gray 7 from my Ohuhus to do the base layer. I wanted it to be pretty dark black, but I also wanted to be able to see the lines when I came in to add the shadows and highlights. So I didn't want to go super dark black because then I wouldn't be able to see what I was doing. So this is my compromise, I guess. So areas where I want it to be really, really dark, I'll come in with the black, but for the most part, I'm probably just going to use this Payne's Gray. And then I will use my white to add in highlights where I think that they need them. Yeah, and then just like deepen up areas where I know that it's going to be super dark with the black. It's not too complicated. Pretty easy way to do hair. All right, so there's a whole lot of strands that are intersecting and overlapping here, so I'm going to try to figure out where everything overlaps. I think that one overlaps that one. That one overlaps that one. And the other thing that I will probably come in and do is I will add a few extra strands. So like in this area where my alcohol marker has gotten a little bit out of control, I can also come in here and just add a little bit outside the lines, just a tiny little bit. And it just creates more of an organic feel instead of just straight, super straight lines. It just looks like there's actual strands of hair kind of floating around. So yeah, so anywhere where something curves out would get like a little extra bit of hair, just a tiny bit. So yeah, like all of these spots here. And then I'll make sure to, again, go in with my white and add in anywhere where I think there might be some highlights. And that's basically just anywhere where I think that the hair is kind of bumping up towards the viewer. Sometimes it's just a little bit, sometimes it's like a whole section. And then sometimes I have to go in and kind of modify what I've done a little bit just so that it doesn't look so crazy. But yeah, I think that that is, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to do that for all of the hair. And when we come back, we'll start working on the skin a little bit, kind of make it look a little creepy. I might just do the face separately because that's going to look normal, but then kind of blending in the, you saw me do a little bit with the alcohol markers where I kind of make it look a little gray. So I'm going to work with that, the pencils a little bit more on the skin down here. And then we'll do some of the stuff with the bones and things like that. So I'm going to go off screen, finish up the hair. I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so I've got the hair all shaded in. I have the face pretty much shaded in. We're going to do a few little pieces together. And then I did this side of the body already. So I have her arm here and the bones on this side all shaded in. And I'm going to show you kind of how I did that on the other side here. So I'm using polychromos pencils. And I did that base layer with my alcohol markers. So I have like a nice peachy color. And then I used like a warm gray color to kind of add these little areas of darkness. And so you can kind of see on this side where I've added in more gray and like yellow and green, and the same thing like around here. I wanted the skin to look like it's kind of like rotting off of her body. And I don't know if this is succeeding, but that was my plan, really. So I am going to use the cinnamon color from Polychromos. And basically, I'm just going to go through, and anywhere where the artist has already drawn a line in, I'm going to add a little bit of shading. And she's really good about adding in a lot of detail. I love working on Selena Fenech pages because she's a fantastic artist. And her pages, they look really intimidating, but once you start to color them, you're like, oh yeah, this is like, it's really clear what she had in mind when she was drawing it. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through and add this cinnamon color everywhere that there's a line. And I'm not pushing hard. I've already done the hand too. I'm not pushing hard with this. I'm just doing just a light little bit layer. And then I'm going to come through and blend that out a little bit with the beige red. Okay, my next step is I'm going to use this warm gray 3. And anywhere where I've got like these darker splotches, I'm going to add in some pencil like right over the top of that, and then kind of blend it out into the skin a little bit. So a little heavier pressure, not that much, but a little heavier pressure in the center of like the splotch, and then lighten my pressure as I move outwards away from that. So it's really just going to kind of create a just this darker area of skin. And like here where I've got like this weird line where I just stopped, I can use my pencils to extend that so it looks more organic and it's not just a weird harsh line. Okay, and then I'm also going to use my warm gray 4 and add in a little bit more shadow underneath these jewelry pieces. So I'm just gonna, anywhere where I've already added in a little shadow, I'm gonna just highlight. So it's basically on the underside of all of the pieces. And I'm not being super careful with like worrying about getting the pencil over top, because I am gonna just come over this with probably a gel pen of some sort, and color that in. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more in this area. All right, so now we're gonna move into, I'm gonna use some, nope, not that one. Yeah, that one. Some of this Bister color, Bister, however you say it. And again, I'm just gonna go in the areas where she has the shadow lines kind of drawn in already. I'm just gonna add a little bit more shadow with this brown color. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take I have the chromium green opaque and I have the green gold color. And so very, very lightly, I'm going to use this green in a couple of spots in these gray areas. So I'm going to add a little bit of green in a couple of spots. Like I don't want to cover the whole area. I just want it to be a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit more right in here too. And then, yeah, in all of like the bruised areas, bruised, damaged, decaying skin. And then add in a little bit of yellow too. You know, that yucky yellowy color that your skin turns as you're bruising or after I guess that's more when you're healing, but I don't know, this just kind of, these colors together kind of made me think of gross decaying stuff. I'm going to use my cadmium yellow a little bit to go over those areas and kind of blend outward from there. Again, very lightly. I'm not pushing hard at all with these colors. All right, then we're going to come through again with the beige red. So I'm not going to go completely over that, but I am going to blend a little bit around the edges of the colors I've put down. Okay, and then one more step. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of shadow along the edge of her arm here. Just like right along the edge. This line, and you can, I'll hold it up close so you can see. It doesn't go right up to the edge of the line art either. And what that does is it kind of creates a more 3D look. It kind of looks like the arm is round. So I'll show you, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it very well, but you can kind of see there's a little gap between where I've drawn in that darker color and the line art. Okay. All right, and then next steps, I'm going to add just a little bit more grays to that area too. So I'm just using warm gray 6 to darken up some of the lines around the bruised, decayed areas, just to really get good shadow colors in there. All right. I think what I might also do, I'm actually, this is going to sound a little goofy, but I'm going to use this green gold and I'm going to just add a little bit to the edges of her hand. Okay. So I think that is looking pretty good. So now I'm going to take my white Prismacolor and I'm going to add in a few highlights in areas where maybe on the opposite side of wherever I've added shadow on these little lines and stuff throughout her arm. Okay, and then we're going to add just a little bit more right in here. Okay. All right, I think the skin is done. I think it looks sufficiently icky. Now, I am not one to usually color icky things, so I'm hoping that I'm doing this justice. Okay. All right, and then on to the rib cage here. Now I did do a nice tan, like a really light tan color with my alcohol markers, and then I used a colorless blender just on the fronts of the ribs to try to lighten it up even more. But on this side, you can see I've used my white pencil. So I'll kind of go through how I did the ribs with you guys too here. So I've got, let me think what colors I used. I think I just used the grays and a white, yeah. So we'll do a couple of rib cages or rib bones here. So I'm going to start with the warm gray 3. And I'm going to color a line. Again, I'm leaving a little gap between the line art and where I'm adding my line of color. So it's not super linear. Then I'm going to use well, and then this area where it kind of starts to curve backwards. So these ribs back here would all be in shadow, I think, at least. All right, so then we're going to use this really dark gray. So this is the 6. And I'm going to add in shadow around where the shadow stuff would be. And we'll use this 4 to kind of blend that out. So that's on the back. So then on the front of the rib, because it's going to be kind of highlighted a little bit more, I'm using the 4 again along the top. I'm not going to go all the way across. I'm just going to darken up the areas on the edges. And then I'm going to use the white to just add some color. So I'm pushing kind of hard. So I just added that white in there, and then I'm going to use the warm gray again to blend into the white a little bit. And that's basically all I've done for the ribs. So we can do one more together, and then that way you can see it, and then I'll finish the rest of those up off camera. So let's do this one here. We'll do this one again. Again, I'm going to start with the warm gray, the lightest one that I have. I know typically you would think just color the bones white, but I kind of want them to look grody a little bit. I hope that it comes across as they're old bones and they've been kind of exposed to the elements for a while now. The other thing that you can do, which I think I did a little bit on the other side, is you can bring in, no, it wasn't that one. Was it? Yes. Yeah, I brought in some of this Beaster color on top of the grays a little bit, and it warms it up even more. I'm already starting with warm grays, but it warms it up just a little bit more. All right, and then use the white, and then come back in with that really light gray. So yeah, so that's basically, oh, and then the spine here, I've already done a little bit of the shading, again, with just those two, or so those lighter grays. I'm going to use a little bit of the Beaster color on top of the grays. It's one of the good things about using these polychromos pencils is you can really layer, even on this Amazon paper, as long as you're using light layers, you can get pretty good results. All right, so I used the 4 there. I'm going to blend that out a little bit with the 3. And then I'm going to use the Beaster color. Go right over top of those. All right, and then we're going to come in with highlights with the white. So I'm going to go just above where I've drawn in the color and just kind of highlight that area there. And then on the center sections as well. And then on the sides, we'll do at the edges. All right, I'm going to darken this shadow up here a little bit. All right, so yeah, let me just go finish off these rib bones here, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so that is all done. I'm going to add, with the warm gray 6 here, I'm going to add a little bit of dark color to the nails. Okay, so the next thing that I thought I would do is a little bit of creepiness on her face. So I want to add some eyes, but I want them to be, I think I want them to be like a sickly white kind of color, but I don't know if I've got the right colors to do that or the right skills, so I'm just going to try and we will see how this goes. So I'm going to start with the earth green and use some ivory and then just kind of go from there. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Hopefully this way you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. So I'm going to use the earth green and I'm going to start just around the outside edge. Okay, I'm going to use this ivory color to shade that a little bit. And then maybe some white in there. We'll see if that works. Okay, and then we'll start to add a little bit darker. So I'm going to add the warm gray 4, and then switch to the earth green again. I feel like that is okay. It looks kind of okay. Not really sure. I'm just adding a little bit of like reddish color. There we go. I'm going to use the white, oops, to go right along the lash line there, and then a little bit in the corner of her eye. All right, we'll try that, see how that goes. I'm going to do the other side. All right, use my warm gray 6 to just kind of go around the lash line a little bit. And then at the bottom of the eye. So just one little last darken up the edges kind of thing. I think that'll be all right. I'm going to use my Payne's Gray to come in and darken up the lashes. Okay, and then I'm also going to use this Payne's Gray just to darken up the shadows underneath her eyes a little bit more, because I did do quite a bit underneath there with the other grays, but I just want it to be a little bit darker. Okay, and then I know this sounds silly because I am trying to make her look dead, but I am going to add in some pink on her cheeks. So I'm going to use this, coral color and just kind of bring in some of this color on her cheeks. Not a ton. And a little bit on her nose. And across the bridge here. Lips are gonna be, I think I'll probably do her lips a nice pink to match the flower. We're gonna start with the rose carmine and see how that does. And I'm switching to coral to blend that out a little bit. And I'm gonna finish that off with the beige red. It's a pretty nude lip, so we'll add in a little bit more. We're gonna use some Pompeian red. No, I don't want that one, I lied. We're gonna use the pink carmine. Just kind of cycle through those colors again, blending everything out as I go. All right, and then I'm also going to use this same pink carmine to add just a little bit, a few little lines on her lips, just to kind of give a little bit more dimension, and then we'll add in some white highlights to that here in a little bit. But for now, we're just going to leave that. I think that that's good. I'm going to work on this flower. Again, I'm just going to use some of the same colors I was using. Probably just cycle between these couple. So I've got pink carmine, rose carmine, and my Prismacolor white, and I'll just do that. So let me kind of show you my game plan for that here. So I'll just go in with the darker color and, you know, use that anywhere where it's the darkest. Blend out a little bit with that. Might add some texture lines, and then use the white to create some highlights. This will be just really fast and boring for me to sit here and color with you guys, but I'll kind of do a couple of petals just so you can see what I'm doing. I'll speed that up a little bit so you can see, and then I will cut to these guys being done, I think. So yeah, so I'll talk to you again here in just a second. Okay, so finish the flower up, and then I I did go ahead and finish all the shading on the butterflies and the other flowers. Really simple shading. So like for the orange ones, I just took a little bit darker orange and did like a line through the center. And then I came through with my white Prisma and gave it some dots on the flowers. So you can, I'll hold it up closer so you can kind of see kind of what I did throughout there. The only things that I want to do here on camera with you, I am going to use some paint pens, some colored paint pens to add a little bit more pizzazz to her hair. And then I'm also going to use my black Prisma to add in just a few, or Prisma, my black polychromos to add in a few lines on the hair on this side because I didn't get quite as much. So this is just where I kind of just add a little bit of like strands of hair. So it looks like maybe her hair is a little messy, or that the wind is actually like really blowing the hair around. And anywhere where the hair kind of bumps outward from its normal progression is where I would draw in those little extra strands. Yeah, and then I'm going to leave that for now. I might come in once I get all of the little metal scrolling work done. I'll do that too, but I'm basically just going to use a I don't know if I want to use silver or gold. I think silver. I'm just going to use a silver sparkle pop pen. I'm not going to go crazy with that because it's just so tiny and I don't want to. And then I'm also going to use another sparkly gel pen. So let's use, okay, so I have a couple gel pens, so I'm going to use my silver sparkle pop pen to do all of the like little metal pieces, and then I'm going to use this pink tiara jelly roll for anywhere where there's like a circly gem area. There's only a couple of them, but I wanted to make sure that I had those on there. So I'm just going to go through and fill these in, and I will be right back with you guys. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. I am going to do two more things. I'm going to use, I'm going to zoom you in first. So on this flower, because she's kind of decaying a little bit, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of that to the flower as well. So I'm going to switch between my black and my warm gray 6. And just kind of add in some spots where I feel like maybe the edges of the flower looks a little rough. Just to kind of create like that look that maybe it's dying a little bit. All right, and then I'm just going to go through and do that kind of here and there around the whole rose. All right, I'm only going to do that a little bit. I didn't want to go overboard with it. I just wanted to have a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to go through, I'm going to add some fun paint pens. No, I lied. I'm going to do a little bit more in the background. I wanted to add just a little bit more along the edges, like the outside edges. I think, again, I'm going to use the grays. So I'm just going to go around the outside edge and do a little bit of the warm gray and then just kind of blend it into the background that's already here as best as I can. I just want that background to be just a little bit darker. Okay, did that little bit in the background, added just a little bit of gray around the outside edge. I hope that looks all right. And then I'm just going to use some Posca pen. So I have a light pink, a light turquoise. I'm not sure exactly what the colors are on this. And, oh, these are just pastels. So it's pastel pink, green, and orange. I'm going to use those kind of around some of the butterflies and flowers and in her hair a little bit. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through and do those real quick. So I'm going to use the pink first. Just make sure that it's going. And just kind of around the color of that flower and or butterfly. I'm just going to do a few little dots of that paint pen. I'm not loving the background, but I think that that's just going to have to be it, I think. Maybe I could do some white dots. Let me do some white dots through the background. I feel like white dots help everything. That's just the way that it tends to work for me. So I'm just going to go through and do that real quick. Okay, I think I'm done. Maybe just, okay, I lied. Just a little bit more. So I'm just going to do a couple little dots on the lip here, on the nose, in the corners of the eyes. And just a tiny little highlight on the eyes, not a ton because I don't want to draw too much attention to it. Yeah, and we're going to call that done because I'm, I think it just needs to be done. I keep messing with stuff and it's it. So there we go. That is the page. I really like the way that it turned out. It's like I said, the background's not my favorite, but I really like the skeleton part. And that was the part that I was kind of freaking out about. I wasn't sure how I was going to do that and make her skin look all icky. And still be pretty at the same time. And I hope that I used the color palette to good use. I think it matches pretty well. So yeah, there we go. That is my skeleton page. I hope you guys enjoyed that color along, and look for the next one next week. And I will talk to you then. Thanks so much for being here. And until then, take care. Bye.